What's up, combat sports fans? This is TBE Boxing back at you again. Today's topic, nightmare. In a shockingly violent display of speed and power, Kamaru Usman knocks out Jorge Masvidal. Let's chop it up and see what it's all about.
Got the money for minutes, pretty bitch, gotta show me titties. This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? That life for riches, huh? That life for riches, huh? Pretty bitch, show me titties, huh? And I got the glitzy, run up on me, I'ma make you get it. I'ma make you get it.
Okay, combat sports fans, boxing fans, we're gonna chop up some UFC, the Jorge Masvidal fight. Great fight. It was a championship card last night. We had 3 good fights at the top of the ticket. Okay, we had many other fights, but I'm only focusing on the 3 championship fights. The one between Rose Namajunas and Zhang Weili, and also the fight with Jessica Andrade and Valentina Shevchenko. Now, let's start out with the Usman fight. Man, what a fight. Okay, I gotta give, before I do anything, I have to give, UFC a shout out, because, I mean, that was a great card last night. These guys are continuing to put on great fights. You know, we have good fighters fighting great fighters, and great fighters fighting great fighters. You know, not any ducking going on, no games. I mean, unlike boxing, UFC is really putting on, cards that people want to see, fights that people want to see, and they've been doing this consistently. Okay, so I gotta, give them congratulations to UFC and another great card last night. They're showing boxing what needs to be done, the way it should be done. Okay, boxing needs to take a page out of the book of the UFC and start putting on the fights that people want to see for boxing to get back to where it is right now. As far as I'm concerned, boxing is on the decline because of what's going on in boxing. All the ducking going on, fighters ducking each other, all the fake belts being created by the sanctioning bodies, franchise championships, and French fries belts. Fighters getting licensed to duck with these franchise or French fries belts. There's a lot of foolishness going on in boxing right now, and it's not a pretty sight. So it's refreshing to see something like what happened last night on this card. Great fights, great fighters, going out there and showing what they have. And so yeah, UFC is definitely leading the way, and it looked like UFC is basically taking over from boxing right now. I never thought I'd have to say that, but I mean, it is what it is. But all right, so let's talk about the fight. So as you all know, there was a history between Usman and Masvidal. Okay, they had a fight previously where Usman won that fight, but he got a lot of criticism from no other than Masvidal himself, who claims that he had to fight on 6 days' notice, and he went in there and all Usman did was hug him the whole fight and whisper sweet nothings into his ear. Okay, so basically he was criticizing the fact that even with 6 days notice, he was able to go in there and go the distance with Usman, and Usman couldn't do anything about it. Usman didn't stop him, and he claimed that if he was him, it was the other way around. He would have stopped any fighter that came into the ring with 6 days notice to fight him if he had a full camp. So that was obviously something that Usman didn't find. I don't think Usman liked all that talk that Masvidal was going on with. And as as we all saw in the build up to the fight, Masvidal definitely got the training that he wanted to get. Okay, he trained very well. He had a good camp. He was training with all different type of experts. We saw him on these videos, bringing in one expert after the other, people training him in different aspects of mixed martial arts, and we saw him working hard leading up to this fight. And the one thing that Masvidal kept talking about in this fight, leading up to the fight, was the fact that it was going to be a violent ending to the fight. He kept saying that over and over again. It was going to be a violent ending. He was going to be a shock. He kept saying that he was going to basically he was going to body Usman in this fight. He was going to be a vicious ending, according to him, violent. And true to form, and true as predicted by Masvidal, it was a violent ending. And it was not only was it a violent ending, it was a shockingly violent ending. And Masvidal was at the end, was on the losing end of that ending, basically, to coin a phrase. So, it was the nightmare is not the word. I should say nightmare is the perfect word. It was a nightmare for Masvidal in there tonight. Usman, the Nigerian nightmare, lived up to his name and made it into a violent and shockingly violent ending for Masvidal that nobody actually predicted that this is the way the fight would end. And to say that it was shocking was an understatement. And to say that it was violent is another understatement. It was both. It was a shocking fight, and it was a violent ending. Just as Masvidal predicted, but I don't think he, understood that he was going to be on the losing end of that violence, and he was. Usman came into this fight, having beaten Gilbert Burns in his last fight and looking very good on his striking game. Every time I see Usman in the ring, he looks better, especially with his striking. Okay, we haven't seen much. We haven't seen much of his wrestling in the last couple of fights. He's been just displaying his striking abilities, and that has been enough to this point. He did have Masvidal down at one point in the fight, but he didn't stay on the ground. He got back up on his feet and took the fight. Took the fight in the striking direction, and he continued to display his improvement in his striking ability because. Who would have believed that Usman could have ended this fight with just one punch? Every time I see Usman fighting, his striking ability continues to impress me. I think this guy could be he could be a very good boxer. That's how much improved his striking has been. And the techniques that he's using, in striking reminds me more of boxing than MMA. He's actually a good striker. We talk about striking in MMA and in boxing techniques, and we all know that typically a boxer, has a much better technique when it comes to delivering punches than a striker in the MMA, because that's all they do. They practice boxing. They don't do anything else. So naturally, you expect that they would have better striking than people in MMA, and they do, generally speaking. But, after watching Usman, I have to say that his striking ability can be compared to boxing. He's very good at it, okay? And every time he comes out in a fight, especially his last three fights, he has showed a marked improvement in his striking technique, and he continues to improve. So, yeah, 1 minute into the second round, he threw a left jab that kind of to occupy Masvidal, which is, again, that's a great technique. You throw the left jab to disguise what's coming next. And he kind of threw it. I don't even think he tried to hit with the left jab. He just threw it out there. And then immediately after that, in a shock, a shockingly, it was a extremely fast. He displayed very good speed and power in delivering that straight right hand to the jaw of Masvidal. When he connected with that punch, you knew that it was over. There was no question, because Masvidal was out immediately. Masvidal was out before he touched the ground. That's how fast the punch was and how violent it was. A vicious right hand to the jaw. Put Masvidal out immediately. His neck, twisted in a way that you saw that, oh, this guy's out already. And he hit the ground, and Usman jumped on him and delivered some more hammer fist, but he was already out. Okay, and there's no chance of him getting back up. He didn't know what happened. He didn't even know what hit him. He never saw that punch coming. Masvidal never saw the punch coming. It was so quick, so speedy, and so powerful He didn't know what hit him. When he woke up, he was asking what happened. He didn't know what the hell happened to him. Okay. Still wobbly. It was a vicious display of speed and power by Usman. And so, that put an end to the Masvidal hype. Excuse me. Because as you all know, again, Masvidal has developed this kind of persona of being the BMF. Well, naturally, that BMF title is passed on to Usman right now, and Masvidal will have to go back and look at the tapes and try to basically rebuild his his career and his persona. But for right now, he was completely dismantled with one punch by Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian nightmare. That definitely was this was definitely what you'd call a nightmare scenario. Okay, it was a nightmare scenario for Masvidal. One punch knockout by Usman in the second round. No, nobody. When I say nobody, I mean nobody. Maybe the only person that expected it to end that way was Usman, because he's the one that ended it. But nobody else outside of Usman could have, conceived that this is the way the fight would end. Okay, I mean, it was a shock, ending to everybody, and no one was more shocked than Masvidal. So great punch by Usman. Great ending to a contest that has been building for some months now with all the trash talking by Masvidal, and he talked a lot, and again he kept harping on the fact that it was gonna be a violent ending, but I guess he didn't really predict. He couldn't predict that it would end in the way it ended. It definitely ended violently, but with him on the canvas asleep. So. I mean, this knockout, I guess we could say it was just as bad, really, as the knockout that Masvidal delivered to Ben Askren. I mean, I guess, that knockout has been played over and over again, and Ben Askren alluded to that when he was building up to the Jake Paul fight, where he again got knocked out. But, he alluded to the fact of how that knockout with Masvidal was, he saw it a million times and, kept replaying and replaying. But this knockout that, Usman did to Masvidal, I think we could say that this knockout could rival that knockout that Masvidal gave to Ben Askren. I guess, Ben Askren could take comfort and he can keep playing this knockout over and over again, to talk about it, just like how Masvidal was talking about the knockout that he delivered to Askren. So, I guess there's some comfort in that for Ben Askren. This definitely was a highlight reel knockout that's going to be played over and over and over and over again. If anything, that can erase the knockout of Ben Askren by Masvidal, it will be this knockout of Masvidal by Kamaru Usman. Because this was a highlight reel knockout. It was the type of thing that you're going to see over and over again. This was one for the record books. It was a beautiful thing to watch. Great fight by both men. Usman definitely came there to make a statement. Masvidal came in there to try and get the win, but unfortunately he came up short this time around. And I don't think that he would probably get in there with Usman again. I mean, it would be. I mean, at the end of the fight, Masvidal said that Kamaru, got his number, and he definitely did. He dialed it. He dialed that number and delivered the knockout. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna see these guys fight. I don't think we're gonna hear any more trash talking from Masvidal. He's been silenced emphatically with that knockout. There's nothing he could say. There's no, thing he could say, okay, there's no excuse, no more excuse, he had all the full camp that he wanted. He got all the training that he needed, and he got knocked out in the second round. He didn't even go the distance this time around with all that training that he got. So all that talk about, the 6 days notice, Usman just ended that talk with one punch. and let it be known that 6 days notice or 6 weeks or 6 years, it doesn't make any difference. You know, when I come in that ring and I want to put you out, I'm going to put you out. And that's what he did to Masvidal. And, you know, Usman also made some comments about the way he came in for the first fight, that he wasn't really prepared for that fight. He had some injuries, broken nose, this, that, and the other. So, you know, his focus was kind of off in that fight. But he came in there and performed and, you know, got the win. And so, you know, there was some, some issues, you know, why that fight went distance in the first place, in the first fight. So, in this fight, you know, Usman, didn't leave anything to speculation. He knocked out Masvidal in an emphatic fashion, dominating a performance. Masvidal has nothing to say but, yeah, you're the man. There's nothing Masvidal can say. There's no excuse he can make. There's nothing he can, talk about. There's nothing to be said after that. Okay? Usman basically shut Masvidal up. And so it is what it is. So that was a great fight. Usman again continues to get better and better. I don't, who knows what's going to happen with Masvidal now. This was the only second time he got knocked out. But he has joined the knockout brigade, along with Ben Askren, getting knocked out. So, I mean, I don't think he's going to talk too much more about Ben Askren. It'll be interesting to see what Ben Askren has to say about this fight with Usman and Masvidal. I'm sure he has an opinion. I would definitely like to hear it. But we'll see how that plays out, if he's going to do an interview and talk about that. I'm pretty sure somebody's going to ask him about it. But anyway, yeah, great fight. Now, let's talk about the Shevchenko-Andre fight. Another great fight. Valentina Shevchenko, she's the phenom. She went in there tonight and, showed just exactly why she's the phenom. She went in there and, basically just broke down Jessica Andre, displayed speed, power. In every aspect of the fighting, she was the superior opponent to Jessica Andre. Jessica Andre basically had nothing. When I say nothing, I mean nothing for Shevchenko. There was nothing that she showed in there that we can say, okay, yeah, everything she tried, Shevchenko, just ended it. I mean, Shevchenko displayed, and that was a dominating performance by Shevchenko again. Another dominating performance. Shows that she's levels above her opponent. Jessica Andre put up a valiant effort, but in the end, it was to no avail. She had no ends, no wins. She had no way in to win this fight. There was no way she was going to win this fight. Okay. Now, a lot of people was talking about the fact that she was practicing her wrestling and she was going to go in there and do the wrestling, surprise Shevchenko with her wrestling ability, but it was nothing of the sort. It was just another dominating performance by Shevchenko, showing that she's levels above the people that she's fighting, and she's a phenom for a reason. Okay, there's no doubt about it. She's definitely going down as one of the greatest fighters in MMA. I mean, in UFC. She displayed again great ability, great technique, great skill. Okay, strength. I mean, she was a taller fighter, but Jessica Andre was a thicker fighter, and she looked powerful when, before the fight actually started. And, you think that, oh, wow, she looked pretty big, and, Shevchenko looks pretty slim in there. Looked like she's going to give Shevchenko a hard time, but not at all. When it comes to the strength, Shevchenko displayed, shocking strength in there. I mean, Jessica Andre just had no chance whatsoever. I mean, she put up a great fight, but a good struggle, but it was not even close. Shevchenko dominated from beginning to end. There was no point in the fight where you say, oh, Jessica Andre got this. It was just a foregone conclusion. Shevchenko is definitely a great fighter. Definitely deserved the phenom title that she has in there. And she went in there and proved it again tonight. Great performance by Shevchenko. I mean, I don't know who's gonna beat her at this rate. I mean, she's doing everything in that ring. I mean, in the octagon in there, and another magnificent performance. Okay, so another great fight we saw in there was Rose Namajunas against Zhang Weili, the Chinese, only Chinese UFC champion. There was a lot riding on this fight because, being the only Chinese UFC champion was a big deal for Zhang Weili. But I covered the fight last night. I did a live fight reaction, and I thought that Zhang Weili, to me, she looked a bit too confident coming into that fight, and I made mention of that while she was walking into the ring. She seemed very confident, smiling, coming in there. Seemed a bit overconfident to me at that point when she was coming to the ring. Looked like she was. Her whole body language and everything was like this was a foregone conclusion. She's just going to show up and finish off Rose. And on the opposite end, I thought again when I saw Rose coming into the fight, she didn't look as confident, but she looked very focused. Okay, she seemed very focused, and she was whispering something to herself, which I didn't know what it was at the time. But later on, I found out she was saying, "I'm the best, I'm the best." But I saw her mouthing something as she was coming in, and while she was preparing, in the ring, warming up right before the fight started, and she was saying something. I didn't know what it was, but again, I found out later she was saying, "I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best." That's what she kept repeating to herself over and over again. And I have to say that she, wow, that was a great performance by Rose. The fight started off with her doing a lot of movement, a lot of lateral movement, side to side, circling to her left. She was doing great movement in there. And then shortly thereafter, from out of nowhere, she delivered a left kick to the jaw of Zhang Weili, and that was it. The fight was over. Zhang Weili didn't know what hit her. Okay, she woke up and was saying, "Hey, what's going?" No, I was. She didn't realize she was out. That's how quick and how violent of an ending it was. She was out. Then she woke up and they even realized she had been knocked out. So it was a vicious kick to the face, perfectly placed kick. That connected beautifully and perfectly, and put Zhang Weili down, and Zhang Weili didn't know what hit her. Wow. I have to give it to Rose. She delivered that kick perfectly. Great performance by Rose. Okay. I wanted to see the fight play out more because I wanted to see what else Rose had to display in there. I'd hoped that the fight would have went longer, but you can't be mad at what she did in there. She did what she was supposed to do. And she ended it early, and she ended it emphatically with no questions left for anybody to ask about her performance. It was a great performance by Rose, and congratulations to her. It was spectacular, to say the least. So, I don't know what next for Zhang Weili. Zhang Weili came into the fight looking in top shape, looked like she was ready to go. 5 rounds. But unfortunately for her, it never came to that. And, Rose ended it, in emphatic fashion with a well-placed kick to the face that, ended the reign of Zhang Weili as the first female UFC champion. So hopefully, Zhang Weili will come back even stronger next time. But we'll see what happens. But Rose entered the record books being the first female, to regain the title, because she was the champion previously and she lost it. But now she regained it against Weili, in spectacular fashion, and that was great for her. Now she's in the record books with that win, and we're gonna see what she's gonna bring to the table from here on in. But yeah, that was a great fight. All 3 fights were great fights. Another spectacular card by UFC. Making boxing look like the sick man of sports, with the way the UFC is putting on their fights, the best fight and the best. And, last night, those 3 fights were definitely a example of the best fight and the best. And, while everybody's in their prime. So it was a great fight card, great fight by all 3 people. And congratulations to everyone that was involved in that spectacle. Because that's exactly what it was. It was a great spectacle, and it was very enjoyable. So yeah, congratulations to all the winners. And as for the losers, well, you guys got to come back again, and we'll see what you have, how everybody rebounds from their loss in this fight, and see what next for them. As we move forward. But yeah, congratulations to everyone involved: Usman, Shevchenko, and Rose Namajunas. Great performance by all three. The Masvidal fight was a topping on the cake. Great straight right hand, shockingly violently ending as predicted by Masvidal, but with Masvidal out on the floor as opposed to Usman being knocked out. Yeah, great fight, great card. Congratulations to everyone involved. I'm not going to go on any much longer from here. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Okay, I'll be covering more MMA as we go along, because it seems there's not much to cover in boxing nowadays. But except for Twitter fights and drama, and not much in the way of actual fighting in the boxing community right now. Just most of these fighters are just fighting on Twitter. Okay, most of them are just Twitter champions at this point. Are Twitter contenders. They fight on Twitter, but they don't fight in real life. But yeah, another great card by MMA. This is TBE Boxing. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Share the videos. Okay. Make sure you like and subscribe. Don't just like or hate. You can like or you can hate, but subscribe. Okay. TBE Boxing. That's all I have for right now. I'm out.